Chris, we are celebrating 40 years at TED.
40 years. It's funny, TED started the year where I thought the world was going to end, 1984.
Why did you think the world was going to end in 1984?
Because I read George Orwell, 1984. And actually that was a year when Richard Werman and his co-founders thought, wow, technology, so much possibility, especially if you combine it with entertainment and design, all these things could happen. And they were right. It just built through the 90s, early 90s, so much optimism around what technology could be.
But I guess the future seems so bright after kind of 1984. Instead of you thinking it was kind of the end of the world, it was like, oh, what is the world evolving into?
And you know, the internet, I remember Wired magazine in the late 90s publishing these articles that were basically implying that the rules of economics had changed forever and that we were in for this long boom, you know, that might last our lifetimes, driven by the power of spreading knowledge.
Right. So one of the things that we're kind of evolving is our tagline and our mission statement, from ideas worth spreading to ideas change everything. That's a very, very powerful statement.
While we're giving away our best content, and the idea that seemed to land with everyone as well, because we should, because these are ideas that are worth putting out there. And so it was intended partly as a little nudge to people. You watch this talk, you better share it as well. And I think that helped create TED's virality. I want to do something with that. Today, we are deluged with content. There is so much. I mean, there are literally millions of talking heads online. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube have allowed thousands and thousands and thousands of experiments to be made in how talk can be compelling.
Right.
So collectively, all these other voices have created this irresistible world of doomscrolling, where people, if you've got an hour free, you know, you could watch a couple of TED Talks, or you could have instant dialed up gratification through, you know, little glimpses of hundreds and hundreds of people.
It's not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it's faced.
So this is really a bit of a new development for TED, to lean more deliberately into ideas being debated, not just announced. I think it's always been true that ideas they don't land in the world in perfect form. So anyway, so we're going to try and do that with some issues in this upcoming TED. It's not going to be a traditional debate. But if you imagine that we disagreed on everything, but we're trying to find common ground, how do you do that? Can you find people who are willing to be curious about the other person and to learn about them and to empathize with some of what they are feeling?
We are going to find out, because I don't think there's any other platform that's really doing this.
We are a nonprofit. We believe, I think more passionately than anyone else, that ideas are the currency that matters. They are not content with the mean world that we're in danger of passing on to them. They don't want a life to be just about materialism, and you know, they see so many flaws in the current systems that they want to do something about, and they're not prepared to settle just for an ordinary life. Many of them are very fearful about the future, and perhaps for good reason.
Absolutely. But there's also an evolution of storytelling that we have to lean more into.
I think we need to be ready to innovate and to invite some of the people who have learned these incredible skills from TikTok and YouTube and elsewhere to be our next generation of speakers and to show how to use those skills on the TED stage, which is why I'm so excited about a project you, Monique, have been pushing, which could be incredible, called TED Next.
With TED Next, you know, when you think about TED, the in-person experience of TED, it was always about the future of design, technology, entertainment. And, you know, with the next generation, they're really trying to find out, what is it how do I want to contribute to this society?
And to some extent, it's what are the next formats of TED Talks that will grip the audience there and the world?
Do you want to talk about any of the impact initiatives that we have here?
I've always believed that ideas are the biggest single driver of impact,
Right.
that an idea whose time has come is unstoppable. Entrepreneurs famously, they dream up these new business ideas, they get funded by venture capitalists, go through a process of trying to find, in the end, 10 that are really credible, that have evidence to back them, are led by someone or a team that we really believe can grow. Often we're talking about basically, say if it's a non-profit organization, of quadrupling the size of that organization in a short period of time so that they can reach these other dreams. And we work with them to turn these dreams into a credible multi-year plan. Literally at the last retreat, this process raised more than $1 billion for 10 different projects that were all funded. So typically these projects are getting they then have funding for the next 5 years. Say here's a $50 or $100 million plus commitment over those 5 years.
What does the next 40 years of TED look like?
So I'll definitely be in the picture for quite a while yet, but I'm so aware that TED needs to be made ready for the next generation. And ultimately, what we've learned at TED again and again is that when you let go, amazing things happen. TEDx, that is an astonishing, unexpected global phenomenon. So there's some kind of version of that in the future of TED over the next 40 years, of letting this thing go to an incredible community and being astounded at the imagination that carries it forward and allows it to continue to shape history, as ideas always have.